Hey guys, this week I'm in Ohio and I thought I'd take the time to show you a really awesome Ultra Sponge Bar tutorial with my KH864 machine that I haven't used in about a decade. It's in my family's house. I'm going to show you guys how to take your machine, how to clean it up, and how to get it ready for the new sponge strip. Alright, let's go do this. For this tutorial, you're going to need some Q-tips, cotton balls, rubbing alcohol or Goo Gone, a flathead long thin screwdriver, of course your Ultra Sponge Strip, which is special because it has the medium density foam in the middle and the mesh and the tightly knit sides to it. And you might also want to have a pair of scissors nearby, just in case you need to cut your Ultra Sponge Strip to the right size. A moment ago I took my sponge strip out, and I actually did record that, so let me show you how you guys can do that if you've never taken your sponge bar out of your machine before. The sponge bar starts right here in this little slot, and it's all the way to here, and I've already started pulling mine out, so you won't really see it. Initially when you start, I've already started pulling mine out. So what you can do is take like a screwdriver, and I just pushed it in like that to get it started. I think I pushed it about this far in to get started, and then this popped out on the other side. So now we're just like literally pulling it out. There you go, we pulled it out. And here is how we can tell. I don't know if you can get the machine out of the way. A little close up on that. You can see just how much this sponge bar strip has died. I mean, there's absolutely no height to it. It should be at about ½ an inch, and right now it has 0 height. So you can see how decomposed that is, how gross that is. And this machine hasn't been used, like I said, in about 8 years, 10 years actually at this point. So we need to replace this. Now you might also want to have a paper towel nearby for cleaning off your screwdriver, which is probably going to get pretty gross. And I also forgot to mention that you really want to have some paper down underneath your surface that you're working on, because this is really sticky and gross and you don't want to mess up whatever nice table you have as a surface. So step 1 is take your screwdriver or whatever other sharp, pointy, long, thin object you could find and just scrape up all of this that you can. Now there is a little bit of fabric on top and you might have to cut it or pull it out from underneath the plastic clip. Get all of that out, maybe on the table onto the paper towel, and then we'll go to step 2, which involves cleaning up the bar and getting it ready for the next sponge strip. Okay, I just cut this off because I couldn't pull it out, and I'm using my screwdriver, as you can see, to scrape up all that gross, dead, decomposed sponge out of there. I cleaned it up as best as I can with the screwdriver, really getting in there, getting as much as I can. So far I've really only used my screwdriver, and I've had my paper towel and this paper. Okay, so right now what I've just done is poured some rubbing alcohol actually right directly into the channel to make it easier to work with. Started with the Q-tip. I've also got some paper towel in my hands that I can go in there and just really rub the stuff out. So this is kind of a DIY aspect of the application, and there isn't one scientifically perfect way of doing this. This is just the way I prefer to do it. You get that rubbing alcohol right in there into the channel by pouring it just a little bit into the middle of it. It makes it a lot easier. Okay, I've cleaned up the sponge bar as good as I can. Now this is where we're going to get our Ultra Sponge Strip ready. You want to cut it down to the length of your sponge bar to begin with. If you haven't already, do that now. And we're going to apply it. Now remember, you're going to apply it with the mesh side down because you want the white side facing the needles. I'm going to go grab some Elmer's school glue, and we're going to stick it in. You could also use water-soluble contact cement. You can use whatever glue you have to do this, but it'll be better for you, like I said, to use that water-soluble glue. I've got my glue. I'm going to put a very thin line of it in. Now again, what's really great about the Ultra Sponge Strip has fabric on both sides, so you don't have to worry about the glue seeping through to the middle as much. It's a mesh layer, so thin little line of glue, that's all you need. Now if you're having a hard time creating a thin little line, you can always just do little dabs here and there. I'm putting it right in the middle of the thing. Now, water-soluble glue dries quickly, so we don't want to wait too long, but you're going to go ahead and put the sponge. Now you're going to squish it a little bit, overlap the plastic clip, because we're going to be squishing it underneath the plastic clip. So if you haven't already cut down your sponge strip, you don't have to. You can actually take the Ultra Sponge Strip and fit it in. It should fit just perfectly into that middle area. And just gently, don't push too much. Now, the Ultra Sponge Strip does come in an adhesive version, which is great. You don't have to do any of this gluing stuff, but you still will have to clean up the bar. With the adhesive version, it's just like a sticker. You just peel it off the back, the black mesh part, and you just stick it right in, and you're done. You can see it's a little long on this end. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's too long. Here's where it should be. I'm gonna go ahead and trim it, and then I'm gonna push it down. If I need, I'll put another little dab of glue right there. And then I'm gonna show you how to take the plastic clip and actually shove it under the plastic clip. With a water-soluble glue, it probably needs at least about an hour to fully dry in a situation like this. If you don't have a water-soluble glue and you use something a little stronger, if you want, you know, maybe a more permanent bond, you know, like Fabri-Tac or something like that, I think that you should wait at least 24 hours before putting it back in the machine. In this, because whatever you do, you don't want anything to stick to the machine. And now when it comes to this section right here, the key is you take your screwdriver and you're going to do everything you can to shove that end right there underneath the plastic clips. It's going to take a little force. Just try to get it under there as much as you can. Hold it for a few seconds. I'm just going to keep my finger there for a few moments. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some tape, some clear tape, and I'm going to tape it in place. Now, I'm actually going to cut this piece of tape down because it's a little too long, too wide. And I know I've kind of shoved it under that plastic bit as much as I can, and sometimes you won't even be able to do this, so you're just going to have to resort directly to the tape. You're going to take the tape, the cellophane, whatever, depending on the country you're in, and you're going to stick it down like that, very carefully, avoiding taping it past the bar. So just like that. And if it feels like the tape is a little loose, you can take another little piece of tape and just kind of wrap it around the bar to really make sure it stays. You don't want the tape sticking out beyond the bar, but it's okay if it wraps the bar. Make sure that when you put the tape on it, you don't just put the tape up here, but actually also take the tape and fully wrap it all the way around the bar gently. Okay, you've got your new refurbished Ultra Sponge Strip Sponge Bar. What you're going to do, make sure all the needles are back in A position if this is a brother machine. And here's the real trick. You have to make sure that, see, the needles pop up after you take the sponge bar out, so you're going to want to make sure that they're down when you add the sponge bar in. So you can use any tool you have at your disposal. You can use your hands. I'm going to use this wonky little metal thing. So when I put it in, I want to make sure the sponge strip is on top of the needles. So as I go along, I'm just going to keep pushing them down. And you'll hear the little click when it doesn't want to keep going. I'm just going along, pushing them in. Look over here. You don't push it all the way in, because you want to be able to get it out in the future. So leave a little nub out for your sake. And there it is. And I'm going to show you guys how it knits in just a moment. Alright guys, the sponge bar is installed and I've started knitting. It looks beautiful. It's really easy. I'm having a great time. It's working completely smoothly. As you can see, I had to improvise with the weight. I couldn't find the weights for this particular machine. But this, the Ultra Sponge, it works great in this machine. Installation was a breeze. And you can see it knits absolutely beautifully.